Aloha, friends and neighbors. Show 926. I'm showing you this early. This is August 8th. And here's Julio. And I want to show you this because this is kind of the moment of the death of a hurricane. Should title this Hurricane Challenges Mauna Loa and Loses. It was a nice little hurricane, but Mauna Loa is the largest object on this earth. And you could see what happened to that hurricane. It just kind of blew it off. And we have a little bit of wind here in Kona. We had two little sprinkles. Not much of a hurricane over here. But there's a hurricane hitting the island and turning into rainstorms. Kind of cool, huh? Now you know why we feel so protected here in Kona. The death of a hurricane by our protector, Mauna Loa, biggest mountain in the world. Aloha, friends and neighbors. Kona astrologer Rollin Frost here. And what you were just watching was the death of a hurricane in Mauna Loa. This is a small event. In history, we never had a hurricane go right at the big island like this. They always see our great mountains and go around us. But when you watched it, it looked to me like that hurricane came in and just went splash like a wave against the rocks. And part of it went this way and part of it went that way. What happened here anyway? I'll bet you a lot of you don't realize that Mauna Loa, this huge shield volcano, sticks up in the air about 3 miles and goes down to the floor of the earth in about 3 miles, and it's very low sloped shield volcano. In truth, it's the largest single object on earth. Yes, it dents the crust of the earth little by little. This whole island goes down a foot every 100 years because it's so heavy. It's putting a dent in the crust of the earth. Other interesting thing is when the earth turns, Mauna Loa is like a singular weight, like having a weight on your wheel that, or a bump in your tire. And every time it turns around, there's a little bump. Yes, in the smooth motion of the earth because of our mountain. It's a very unusual thing. Yes. 6 miles high. I don't know what the circumference is. So what happens is Hurricane Azelle comes running into it like a drunken driver or something, or one on carbon monoxide, went asleep at the wheel and wasn't even driving and headed right for this big huge stone edifice. Now hurricanes look like a real big deal when you see them from the satellite and the weathermen are looking at them, and they come in with wind. They're a wind thing, huh? So my predictions for this period were water damage. Yes, not so much wind. The only wind damage they had was over in the eastern side of the island where all those junk albizia trees fell down. Anyway, I'm sure it is. These things are just wind. And what happens when they hit a huge stone evidence? This is the immovable object. You could expect what's going to happen, and you just saw it. Sploosh, That hurricane was dead. It didn't even move around Kona or go any further. It just died right there on the spot. Now, you know that I live over here in Kona, right in here, and there were some of these weather predictors that said this thing was going to cross the island and Kona would be hit with high winds, worse than any other place. And I'll tell you, we never even saw the thing. We didn't hear any wind. We had no real rain, a couple little small showers. Kona went along like nothing had happened. All the sploosh went that way and that way. And, here's a trick for you to know, is there's 3 big active, well, Mauna Kea is not active anymore. And Kilauea is active still on the side here, and Mauna Loa is still active. It goes off now and then, but there's another volcano here It's called Hualalai, and it sits in here just above Kona, and it goes off every 200 years. It's still doing it, as far as we know. And I had a peculiar thing happen. This volcano only goes 8,000 feet, not like these 13,000, 14,000 feet guys here. So it's a little smaller, but the next morning after all that action was supposed to happen, I was driving along on Ali'i Drive, and I looked up, and usually this is all in clouds. When you're in Kona along here, you don't see the top of this mountain because the inversion layer is about 5,000 feet, and that's where all the clouds happen, you know. And so when you look up, you see the clouds at 5,000 feet. You don't see the top of this thing. It's 8,000. But in this case, you know, after the aftermath of these hurricanes, you totally saw the whole outline of the whole volcano of Hualalai. I tried to find out what Hualalai means, and I couldn't find it in my Hawaiian dictionary or anything. Hualalai. Anyway, what I saw was kind of a strange vision, and I'll try to give it to you and share it. So here's the profile of what you see. Over here is Mauna Loa, way over here. But this is very strange. When I looked up and I saw the whole profile, what I saw was, for an instant, Hualalai like a person, and she's lying down here, and she's stretching one arm out this way and protecting the whole Kona area. Her other arm lies on her side here, see? And the body goes down here, and the legs go down here. And Hualalai protects us even more than Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea. And boy, she was just smiling and showing herself off. She's a beautiful volcano, beautiful mountain. It's a wonderful place. It's hard to get up there anymore because Bishop Estate grabbed all the land and they don't let hikers up. And anyway, politics. But this is the way she looked the morning after the hurricane. And I think that's why us in Kona Town, it was embarrassing. Nothing changed. Beautiful day. Well, I think we got to thank Hualalai for some of this too. We have our own little Pele over here, you know, that protects us. Yes, we do. Well, this is program 926, and I'm about to do the sky mirror for the first week in September. And then what time I have left, I'm going to get to work on your next hurricane, which I believe will be in October, and is a little more serious looking than the rain incident that we had here recently. At least we're going to have more electrical problems and more problems getting around, and well, I got work to do on it. I can't define it all, but right now let's go do the sky mirror. Let's see what's coming up in that first week of September for you. Here I've drawn up a chart for you. Some of the tension's gone out of things. You're still working on a nice full moon at 18 Aquarius that gave power to Uranus, and there's people in the streets. Things are going on. Uranus has a 150-degree angle over here to Mars and Saturn, and Mars is right next to Saturn, and so forces of authority could get very mean. I don't know what's happening in Missouri, but right now where I'm at, back on the 13th, it's not good. The police look like, you know, military. There's also a 150-degree angle here over to the sun. Towards the end of next week, authorities especially could get mean. And it seems like the rebels, the people, the common sense folks are up to having it out with somebody. Yeah, there's an opposition to Mercury, which happens later on towards the middle and end of next week also. So the good side, well, Uranus is trining Jupiter, and there's got to be some enlightenment, some secular enlightenment going on here. How come our police all turned into military anyway? Well, let's see what it looks like day by day. We're going to run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern. Here's where we're going to start on Friday, the 29th. If you go back 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago, you had a new moon at 2 Virgo. Not a bad one. Where you stand now is you're watching the Thursday show. The moon's in Libra here, a fixed air sign, and it's got some buzz on it. Here in the middle of Thursday, there's an opposition to Uranus, and people are tired of disruptions and homeless people and hippies and environmentalists and hurricanes and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay. So Thursday's kind of disruptive, and Thursday night, the 28th, sort of disruptive. Friday morning, the moon early goes by the north node, and there's a feeling of nurturing, and we got to take care of people, and there's also a nice sextile to Venus, and stay in bed late Friday morning. There's sugar there, and it still has a little buzz on it, but changes totally Friday night about midnight here, 10 p.m. midnight, depending on location, when the moon shifts into Scorpio. And it's a real mixed bag here now, folks, because it takes 2.5 days to go through Scorpio, your Saturday and Sunday. And it starts Saturday morning with a nice trine to Neptune. There's music, there's church, there's higher heart. You know, read Jesus. When you read the Bible and you see the word heavens, it translates back Greek and Aramaic into sky. It's full of astrology, but they tried to take it out. Anyway, this is a good time to see some colors and butterflies and birds and get your higher heart going. Yeah, because the sun is there too. And it's in opposition to Neptune, by the way. I almost missed that. Here's the sun at 6 Virgo on Friday, and Neptune's at 6 Pisces. So people aren't liking priest, artists, doctors. They're not liking the music's too loud. So maybe I shouldn't give you, the real go-ahead to play your music Saturday morning. Oh, look out. But it seems like everybody has the power, but they're overdoing it. Here, look at it. Here's a square to Jupiter sandwiched in between. The Sun sextile and the Pluto sextile are all in part. Well, here's the overdoing it part. And let's see, we got midnight here. 2 a.m., midnight, 8, 6 p.m., you feel powerful. 4 p.m., we're overdoing it. 2 p.m., we're doing what we want. So, mixed bag, but it looks like somebody's overdoing it on Saturday. And look out, because Sunday's not that hot. I mean, Sunday, we got the moon going by Saturn, first of all. Starts at breakfast. Uh-oh, it's a little scary. Not time. There's no time. There's no money. What's going on with our world? It feels crazy. It's lousy time, Saturn, because the moon marches right on Sunday, middle of the day, and hits the Mars zone. And people, you're either going to be working physically to fix things, or you're going to be ticked off. And, Mars is close to Saturn. They're only 2 degrees apart. And so this could get really mean, huh? Or it could be, or maybe the general is Saturn and Mars is the soldier, and the general will say, now, attention, up, go back to your barracks. I'm kind of betting on the meanness. And when I see this all happening here, the one they're going to sacrifice is Uranus. So this might not be a good day for protesters or for anybody who's trying to be a rebel. If your nail sticks up, these guys are going to come along and try to pound it down. It's happening on Sunday. There's some communication here late Sunday night, early Monday morning with a sextile to Mercury, but, it's been a bad Sunday. Yep. Monday, about breakfast time, the moon shifts into Sagittarius, a mutable fire sign. All the vibes change, and by dinner time and in the evening, the square to Neptune kicks in and the square to the Sun, and we feel confused, feel like we've been misled, huh? Like Sanjay Gupta says over marijuana, we've been seriously misled on purpose for over 70 years about this. Terrible. Well, you're going to look back at this point and say, whoa, A lot of lying, confusion going on. People change words. Truth comes out more early Tuesday morning. This is at 4 o'clock in the morning. There's a nice trine to Jupiter, and some of the truth comes out. Here's the trine to Uranus between breakfast and lunch on Tuesday, and the media picks it up. The bosses aren't very happy. There's a square to the sun, well, maybe the bosses aren't doing their job. And the lawyers and the environmentalists and protesters, are going to have their say here. And some men that are wrapped in the cloak of the flag, or, I'm special, I'm privileged. These could be politicians, these could be business leaders. The privileged people, are going to have trouble Monday night, Tuesday morning, because the truth is coming out on Tuesday. I hope you enjoy it. Grab it and make it yours. Okay? Late Tuesday night's actually early Wednesday morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a nice trine to Venus. And there's some sweets around Wednesday. If you learn the truth, when the truth will set you free, maybe you can relax Wednesday morning. Hope you can. Middle of the day, here's a square to Mercury. And we got troubles. Mercury's in Libra. And here we got the moon in Capricorn. Starts after breakfast Wednesday. And of course, that means the Pluto-Uranus square is here. And, Wednesday night, there's a nice sextile to Neptune. The music's going. We've had some faith. Other than just miscommunications in the middle of Wednesday, it's a pretty good day. On Thursday, it all changes. Moon goes by Pluto. Eek, a bug! Policemen, military, all over the joint. They think they're doing righteous work, but they're not. They're blocking all the secular protests. They're blocking every man. They could get violent here again. Sorry. On September 4th. Settles down. Everybody goes quiet. Start thinking about things. Thursday night here. 6, 8 o'clock. 10 o'clock. With the sextile to Saturn. Maybe we should have been a little wiser in the way we used force. But here's a consideration. We all feel like macho here Friday morning. I don't know why. Carrying guns? Sheesh. I have a plan. Take all the handguns out. They're going at the gun thing all wrong. Just take concealable weapons. Most of the old towns in the West had signs. You can't go into this town with a concealed weapon. You want to walk in with your gun over your shoulder? That's fine. Long guns should be legal for everybody. They should be able to take them anywhere. But it's the short guns that are killing people. Do away with them. If we did away with them on the island of Hawaii, tourists would love to come here. We'd make a lot of money. Don't let those feds come in with guns shooting our people. No. It's an idea. If you like the idea, talk it up. See what happens. Moon goes into Aquarius in the middle of Friday, and you could be more innovative, okay? And you can talk about things like this Friday night after dinner with a nice trine from Mercury. Think about the kids. Wouldn't it be nice if kids could grow up without all these pistols in their face? Maybe television could take note of that and stop feeding us all these crazy people running around with a little handgun. They're clasping it in both their hands. It's not the way you use handguns. No. But it's all gone into Hollywood now, and too bad. Saturday, we're overdoing it. Moon's in Aquarius. We got a opposition to Jupiter. We're not liking the lawyers too much, but we're going to need them to do the work that we have to do for everybody. The global warming, the environment, stop the incinerator in Hilo, talk to the protesters in Missouri. Talk to the people. Of course, those guys in power, here's a square from Saturn, they're going to stop it all. They're going to stop the media. Hang up the internet. Because stuff like that will come up late Saturday night. Feelings of authority. Just the way it is. Sunday morning you'll still be feeling it, but you'll be ticked off. And there's a square to Mars. Anger, resentment, violence. Ask yourself what you're protecting Sunday morning, September 7th. And don't go rush off and take it out on innocent people, especially Venus. Venus is here Sunday afternoon, and she's having trouble. The moon's opposing her. So the girls are having difficulty along with the young men. And not a real easy Sunday. It seems like it gets a lot better late Sunday night, about 9-10 o'clock. The moon goes by Neptune. And maybe the Pope will come out and give us some guidance. Otherwise, if you're at home, pick up the New Testament. Read a little Jesus and realize he was an astrologer and he was trained in Alexandria. And when they say heaven in the Bible, it translates back to sky. It'll read a lot differently to you. Well, I only got about 7 minutes left, so I'll get a start on this and we'll finish it up maybe next week. And I did a lot of this work back before. Here it was, July 26th to August 2nd, the storm. Big storm. Not a hurricane though, was it? Thanks to Mauna Loa. Here's the next thing that's coming up for us, and this could be more serious. This starts with the warning when the full moon hits Uranus. It's a month of hurricanes and earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. Starts around October 8th, maybe October 7th. Goes on for a full month. Goes until November 6th. And, this is a time when there's going to be a lot of energy. These could be very energy-provoking hurricanes because the full moon is on Uranus. It trines Mars at 16 Sag, trines Jupiter at 17 Leo, and Uranus himself is at 15 Aries. So 15, 16, all in fire. It's a fire trine, huh? A grand trine in fire. So there could be a lot of energy behind the hurricanes. And the question is, what's it going to do with us? Well, there's several things for me to check up on. First of all, there's Mercury, which goes retrograde October 4th. This is real close to the full moon, and stuff could happen here. It's retrograde all the way through October 25th, which means trouble getting places, trouble making calls. Transportation and communication is a mess. It stops at 16 Libra on the 25th. Now 16 degrees of Libra, the grand fire trine is over here at 16 degrees. 16 degrees of Libra opposes Uranus and the full moon. So if I had to guess when most of your electrical lines are going to go down and you're not going to be able to communicate and probably not drive around, well, I think my best guess is when Mercury stations there. Now this could be the result, okay? Around the 25th of October is the Mercury going direct. Now, if it happens earlier on this full moon, we're looking at several weeks as Mercury goes backwards until your electric lines are fixed and the roads are cleared and you can get around and you can communicate and transportate again. So, not easy. The other thing I noticed before was the new moon on the 23rd is kind of panicky in Hawaii. It's kind of panicky, yeah. Services halt. You can't get service from all these different people due to the wires are down and the roads are blocked. So this looks like a wind damage, not a water damage like the 1st of August was here. So, wind damage. Let's check it out a little more. Okay, I think I showed you last week how to get the GOES, G-O-E-S satellite and get the East Pacific wide view, and here it is. And so here's our islands, kind of small, they're always hanging out in a more cool spot. This is the water vapor, huh? So there's not too much water vapor in here. The water vapor's in the deep colors, and you can see the little storm belt here. The storm belt runs especially along the 28-degree mark centigrade, which is where it's hot enough to where the ocean starts big updrafts. Here's our newest candidate here. Yep, there's a hurricane about to take off. It's kind of like a bowling alley. It runs down here. Will it hit us? Will it go around? Will it go up? Will it go down? The experts have their focus points here. Let me put them on. Well, it didn't work for some reason. Let me try it again. Well, this looks like it's fuzzing out. Maybe they downgraded to a tropical storm. Here's the old one up here, and you can see these little tracks. Here's what the experts say will happen to, was this Rosario or something? It moves up like that away from the islands. So these guys tell you what their prediction line is. Of course, you know, but that by the time you get to Mauna Loa, it all changes, doesn't it? All right, here's my old ephemeris. So I went after it again. I said, well, I just look around all planets and see where's the most likely time when we're going to be disturbed by a hurricane. I circled some dates here. There's one early one that well, that's just Mercury going retrograde, huh? In Scorpio, so may not be that big a deal, but you can see that most of them are clustered here and here, and so that's more on the timing of the hurricane, huh? I've got quite a list of charts to study, and here's the October 23rd, the most likely. This is that new moon, and you can see here Mercury's up at the top of the chart at 17 degrees. And down here is Uranus at 14 degrees. And they're both squaring Pluto in the rising sign here in Kona. Now Mercury happens to be the ruler of Gemini, and so it's ruling the 6th house here. These are your servants, and employees aren't going to be able to get into work. Yeah. Now this covers the whole month after this. Here's the full moon, October 8th. There's Mercury here also, opposing Uranus and the moon. So I'm going to have to continue this next week, that's clear, because I'm kind of running out of time here. Three-quarter moon, October 15th, shows Neptune at the bottom, flooding all over the islands.